Hey everybody, welcome to Wire Uncut, the series where we spotlight bold European built alternatives shaping the future of secure and sovereign technology. Today's episode is a special one. In a short time, EU Tech Map has captured massive attention across LinkedIn, sparking conversations about visibility, ecosystem strength, and what European tech is truly capable of. Joining us today is the founder, Dante Emilio Grassi. Welcome, Dante.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very happy that you could jump on such a short notice to
Of
have
course.
this conversation with me. I'm extremely happy to have you here. Can you shortly introduce yourself? Who are you? Where you come from? What you do other than, European Tech Map?
Of course. Yeah, sure. So yeah, basically my name is Dante and I'm based in Sweden, in Lund, a small university town here. And my day-to-day work is basically I run my own consulting firm. So that's what I do. And my background is within finance and nowadays AI and machine learning. So I consult different clients. I actually have my branded T-shirt right here. So my company Advera. So yeah, but EU TechMap basically started as an idea because I think we all know like the geopolitical climate that's been happening the last year at least, and most likely a couple of years. So it started a bit out of like frustration and not being able to find all of the like European alternatives that I wanted to find. So about 3 months ago, I started like a hobby project to build this map of European tech companies to be more specific. Yeah, built around 1-2 months it took, and I launched it a week ago, and the response have been amazing. So I'm very happy to be here to talk more about it.
Yeah, I mean, what a week. I just read your post yesterday that you gave like an update on how it's actually perceived. So right now, there's like 1,500 companies, over 77 categories, 44 countries. You had like an extreme high amount of visitors, over like 35K. Have you like thought at the beginning that you're gonna receive such an attention?
No, absolutely not. I built this, as I said, as a hobby project. So it was basically
Hmm.
built on the evenings, weekends, and whenever I got the time to sit with it. So, I said in an earlier LinkedIn post as well, maybe I expected like 10, maybe 20, 30 people if I were lucky to sign up and to show interest in it. And I expected the audience to be like enthusiasts, like people that really cared about this issue. And the previous week was surreal, to say the least. I was really it felt like a really nice dream of all the people showing interest in it, and from going from a hobby project to something very real in just a week was amazing. And of course the response from people, I got so much positive feedback on the idea, on the like map itself and so on. So I'm really happy about that. And it was not expected at all. I expected, like I mentioned, like maybe 10 people signing up for it. And today there's 1,000 today companies. And so that's amazing, really.
And I think I found it like so inspiring actually, and so motivating to see this happening, like the attention that all the companies gave it to it. I think that's very inspiring, and also like the solution that you put together to, because there is already, a website called European Alternatives. There's also another one, Go European. So there are like already, a lot of these solutions out there in the market, but not a map. So how actually, like, why the map? Now that we
Yeah, that's
talk
a
about it, like, why
good
you put it
question.
on the map? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How,
So
how, how that idea came.
yeah, exactly. So I gotta just say first, I think all of the other websites you mentioned are great websites. I love the founders and their initiatives behind it, so I fully support them. And I think everything we can do together as a community to drive change and to actually get more people to look into, European alternatives is great. So I support all of that. And the idea basically was inspired from different like other initiatives. So I mean, of course, there has been like maps before of tech companies, and there has been lists of European alternatives before. So I basically took all of those great ideas and I aggregated them into one. So today, EU Tech Map is of course the visual map, but it's also a directory where you can filter, you can sort, you can find like specific categories, you can find tags of specific companies and so on. And of course, you can also find like lists of specific non-European, I would say, non-European tech and alternatives to that for European companies. And so, I mean, there's a lot of different functionalities there, but of course, the map, as it's in the name, it's like the main theme of the website as well. And it's very nice to, I mean, it's fun to look at as well. It's fun to explore, like in this city, in this country, what kind of tech companies are there and so on. So that's really, I think, the main draw there.
Yeah, very nice idea. What I was also thinking of, like, how you do this alone. Like how you actually pull
Yeah.
this off. I mean, you just said it's month in the making, so makes sense. But still, like, I think the massive response from all the community that you gathered. So now, like, how you do it?
Yeah, I would say, of course, I'm alone in the sense that I have no co-founder. I have no like investors. I'm totally independent in that sense. But I would say, given the community that's around this, I would say, and all of the support I received during just the last week, I'm super grateful for that community, and I really couldn't have done it without the community around this theme, so to say. And I mean, there's a lot of people that offer to help, a lot of people that have like provided me with feedback that has been super valuable. So I would say in that sense, it's not really like not really alone in doing it. So I just started it alone, but now we're a community and a community of, I mean, tech enthusiasts, founders, politicians, and so on that has shown interest in it. So yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, the development process, just to be like, as I mentioned, took about 2 to 3 months approximately, and it was done with like different tools and built with Lovable. I mean, everyone knows Lovable these days, right? So like one of the great new Swedish, I wouldn't even call them startups anymore, but one of the great Swedish companies. It's so big right now, but it's a great tool to build with. Makes it possible as well for me to ship very fast and to I mean, iterate very quickly on feedback as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because you can, like, within the functions, you can also alone put your own details, but you also, like, for example, for us, for Wire, you set it up for us, no? So that's actually like extra manual work for you. So this is why I was wondering, like, how you can also do it this, on top of your full-time job.
It's just a lot of coffee and no sleep, basically, to be honest.
Yeah, like high on caffeine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have been pretty transparent in sharing the results so far. So after the launch, what surprised you the most?
So, I mean, I would really say the response surprised me a lot. As I mentioned before, I mean, I expected maybe 10 people to be interested, and instead I got like 1,000 people were interested, and I got so much positive feedback. I mean, I got today I got 250,000 impressions on LinkedIn so far on my last couple of posts, and so I mean that response was very surprising, of course, and it was kind of a lot to manage, to be honest. But it was also very fun to have like a dialogue with all the people in the community and so on. So yeah, just to summarize, that was the most surprising part of it, definitely.
Underneath one of your posts, we actually asked, like, what was the category that actually stand out for you? Can you elaborate it a little bit on that?
Yeah,
Like, were
100%.
there like categories that you said, okay, wow?
Of course, I mean, there's many categories that I think were a bit surprising. I mean, of course, everyone maybe thinks that there's a lot of European alternatives, but I think also most people default to non-European, I mean, specifically American software. When we think about like a team communications channel, we think of Slack, or we think of Teams, or we think of any other like software. When we think of cloud, we think of, I mean, Amazon Web Services, we think of Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and so on. So I think really reframing the state of mind of European buyers to maybe not just default to American software, and to really open up like the eyes to what different European alternatives there are out there. And for example, just in the cloud space, there's a lot of different European actors that are really great and growing, and I mean, great teams as well. I mean, analytics services, content management services, etc. So there's a lot of different categories where there's a vast amount of great European alternatives where you just didn't think there was. So because as I mentioned in my LinkedIn post, I think it's not necessarily like a quality gap. there's great European companies, but they don't get the visibility that they maybe deserve. And I mean, the American companies are great at being visible. They're all over the place on all the different platforms. European companies have a little bit to go there, but I think maybe the EU Tech Map is a bit as a part of the solution at least, and I hope to make European companies even more visible, basically in the future.
Yeah, I think like you're really going to the right direction. It really gives like a great opportunity to other European tech alternatives to be visible. What do you personally has like switched lately from, you know, like the US product to a European alternative?
Great question. Yeah, so of course, I mean, as many people, I grew up with American software, and I mean, I've used like Google, et cetera, for all my life, basically. So I'm just in principle, I'm not against using American software, but I think there's always good to have options, and it's always, as I mentioned before, it's always good to not
Exactly.
maybe default to American software, especially now and in the future. I think it's more and more important for European consumers and businesses to look into what European alternatives there are. So yeah, so just to answer your question directly, I mean, of course, for example, Google is one like I'm looking to replace, and there I think, for example, just shout out to the Proton team. They're doing great work. I mean, there's also other alternatives, of course. I'm also looking into like switching completely like analytics software, for example. There's different alternatives there that are great. There's, I mean, a lot of different services that you could switch to, basically. I mean, cloud, et cetera, database that I'm also looking to migrate to over time.
Yeah, exactly. I personally switched from Google to Ecosia. I can
Right.
really
Yeah.
recommend it. I think
Yeah.
and it was like they have like so many great articles on how you can change, you know, the default setting
Oh,
within your browser. And I think that also helps a lot. If
100%.
you
Yeah.
make it easy to change, then you know it's also like easy to adopt, and then you just get used to it like step by step. And recently what I found actually also for social media platform actually Monet, and I
Right.
think it's also, yeah, they are also getting and gaining more and more visibility, and I'm really looking into it. And also Mastodon. We also had a chat with Andy Piper before, so I already knew about the tool. So I think you already kind of started to talk about your point of view, but can you just like explain a little bit more? How do you see digital sovereignty? Like, what is your take on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think given the like geopolitical climate that we've seen the last couple of years, not just like the US, of course, but also what's happened in Europe, I mean, what's happened in Asia as well. I think it's important that European businesses and consumers have options when it comes to choosing software and, of course, other like technologies as well. I mean, non-software technologies. So I think it's not about being anti something. It's not about being anti-US. It's not being anti, etc. But it's more about having options, knowing what there is on the market, having visibility into what European alternatives there are, and making a conscious decision and not just defaulting to, I've always gone with Google or Slack or Teams or whatever it is, but actually looking into maybe what type of companies there are that could be like a very equivalent or even in some cases even better than American alternatives, for example. So that's the frame of mind I have right now. So, and I know there are a lot of people that are much more like anti-American software than I am, and that's completely fine. I totally understand why, but I think I love what the Americans like have done in software. So I think it's mostly great software, but of course there's always some like less great software as well, in the sense of privacy and so on. In general, I'm positive to it all, but I think it's good for Europeans to have options. That's the main part.
Yeah, exactly. As you also said, like you don't need to the default. Like it doesn't
Mm,
mean that they are like, you know, the devil, but there is also a way to make it like layered, kind of like you can have, I don't know, the mainstream platforms for something that doesn't have to be like such a sensitive, you know, communication exchange or information exchange. You can use mainstream platforms, and then for something that you need like more security, you can use also European alternative or something that you feel like more secure. I think that's like
100%.
the
Yeah,
hybrid setup, like like we have the hybrid setup at work. We have the same hybrid setup, within our tech ecosystem. So makes sense, also to have a look at it that way.
exactly. I mean, and also we have to realize that this is not something that happens overnight. And of course, I mean, businesses need to evaluate new solutions. They need to actually. I mean, it's not. Of course, I understand this. It's not only a sovereignty question for most companies. It's also like a cost, privacy, GDPR compliance. There's a lot of different factors that goes into buying a new software. I mean, in addition to actually implementing it into maybe an organization with 100 plus employees, etc. So I
Exactly.
understand there. I mean, it could often be a quite a large challenge to change from the default. So we just have to like try to slowly move the status quo and try to challenge the current narrative of what is the default and actually get people to look into switching.
It's like how you also manage the change and then just do like step by step. I think that also makes total sense.
Yeah.
So then, like, what's next for EU Tech Map? What do you have in mind?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a lot of plans ahead, of course, and I just shared yesterday that there's, I mean, a couple of additions on the platform. So I noticed when the map group passed about 1,000 listings, somewhere around there, there were some submissions that were non-software, and so I started to feel like, where does this go in the end? How can I stop this from being diluted from software? So I didn't want the main directory and the main map to be like a very large mix of companies, because I mean, of course there's a lot of good tech companies, but maybe they're not software, and then they don't go under the same criteria, filters, etc. So that's why I'm actually right now breaking it out into something I call ecosystems. So for example, there's a lot of different interesting deep tech companies. There's a lot of different defense companies, etc., that I have broken into like separate ecosystems. So you can explore all of those companies on their own with their own like filters and their own map and so on. And then you have the main directory for software only companies and like SaaS and so on.
Mhm.
So that's one of the parts. I also looking into building a resources section on the website where you can find, for example, VCs, investors, incubators across Europe, because that's also one of the things. I mean, for a lot of entrepreneurs in Europe, I mean, I wouldn't say everyone, but many entrepreneurs see it as successful to travel to Silicon Valley, for example, and to start your startup over there. But I think it's better. I mean, of course, for a future sovereign Europe, I think it's better if entrepreneurs are willing to stay in Europe, build here. So it's actually like a made in Europe startup instead.
Yeah.
But then there should be like great alternatives and viable alternatives here as well, and there are. But they, as the same as companies, they just need to be visible. So basically, what kind of incubators and investors and resources are there here in Europe that can help and facilitate startups in the future here as well? So that's what the resource section is trying to accomplish as well. So yeah, that's just a couple of the different initiatives that I have going on. But of course, it's nowadays it's mostly like crowdsourced ideas. So I get a lot of ideas from the community around, and they provide with a lot of great feedback, and I try to pick out the greatest parts and implement it into the product as well.
Yeah. That sounds interesting and like really impressive work. I'm really stunned at how much you have done in such a short time. It's really impressive. Very well
Yeah,
done.
thank you, thank you.
What would be, just to wrap up our conversation, what would be like one main message that you want our audience to take away from the conversation?
I think the main message I would like to send out there is to start reframing how we see Europe, and to start not seeing Europe as behind in tech, because we're not, and to start actually seeing that Europe is built different in the sense that we value other things maybe, uh, and when we put our minds to it, we can build great things, we can build great startups, we can build great technology. So as I mentioned before, it's just like a visibility gap. We just need to show ourselves more, be more out there. I mean, of course, sign up to EU Tech Map if you haven't already, to be visible on the map, literally. And so that's the main message I would like to send out there.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. My
coming.
pleasure.
It was really great to have you here, and I wish you all the best for the future ideas that you have in mind.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.